Hi, my name is Matthew Matza, and I'm going to tell you about my father, Oriel Matza. He had no middle name, and I don't have a middle name either. My father was born on May 14th, 1921, in Brooklyn, New York. His mother was Anna, and his father was Morris Matza. He lived on Avenue N on Ocean Parkway in Brooklyn, which is where he was brought up. He was one of 8 children. He had 3 brothers and 3 sisters. He also had 2 siblings that passed away. The oldest brother was Harry. He had a twin brother named Hi, and his youngest brother was Milton. He had 2 sisters, Matilda and Esther. Matilda basically brought up Milton, Hi, and Oriel because their father died when my father was 13 years old. And that just left his mother to raise him and his siblings. So there was a lot of children in the family, and it was a very difficult time. Also, they were brought up during the Great Depression. So being a large family and with very little income, my oldest uncle, or their oldest brother, Harry, was kind of responsible for being the breadwinner, and he started a business called Capital Sportswear, which manufactured women's skirts and pants in the garment district in Manhattan, 35th Street. My father went to high school in Brooklyn, at Lincoln High School. And on his free time, he would go to Coney Island, which was close by, and play in the arcades. They had games where you could shoot at targets, which helped him go into the Air Force as a gunner on a plane called a B-17. He was in the bottom of the plane in a turret, and because my father was small in stature, I think he was about 5'1". They looked for guys that were small and also had great marksmanship, which he had. He was about 21 years old in 1942, and he enlisted in the Air Force to fight for America in World War II. He was stationed in the Pacific and fought against the Japanese. He went into the war as a private, an enlisted man, and when he was discharged, he left as a staff sergeant. His job in the Air Force was to go in the B-17 and protect other pilots and planes and look for enemy aircraft. And he was very successful with that. Many of his friends did not come back from the war. When he came back, he went into business with his younger brother Milton, and they created a company called Paris Skirts at 254 West 35th Street in New York City. He had the training from his older brother Harry at Capital Sportswear, and the two of them borrowed money from their uncle, Bacco Mayo, who was an immigrant from Greece, as my whole family was. And they started their business. And they paid back Bacco within a few years. My father met my mother. She was hanging out with a girlfriend of hers, and my father picked her up, and they fell in love and got married. They had to elope. The reason they had to elope was because my father was a Sephardic Jew, meaning our family originally came from Spain, and during the Spanish Inquisition, Jews were given 2 choices, either to convert to Catholicism or to leave the country. Our family left and wound up in Greece, and then from Greece to America. But in the Sephardic tradition, Sephardics married Sephardics. And my mother, being Jewish but not a Sephardic, was basically considered marrying out of the religion. So they eloped, and within a year, my sister Arlene was born. And I am 8 years younger than Arlene, and I was born in 1955 in Long Island Jewish Hospital on Long Island, New York. My father worked very hard. He worked 6 days a week with his brother to build their business, and he became very successful. And in that, I mean, not that we were rich, but that he was able to provide for his family. I never didn't have what I wanted or needed, and yet was very grounded by my mother as well as my father. My father stopped working. He retired at 66 years old, and right around that time, I had gotten married and had my first child, Rachel. About 2 years later, I had my second child, Jacob. My mother was sick, and she had cancer, and she died at age 70. It's a very sad time. She never really got to know her grandchildren, and of course, it's very painful, even to this day. I'm sure she would have loved to see them grow and grow into the types of people that they are today. My father met a woman, and she was in Florida, and in the winters he would be in Florida, and in the summer in New York, and she was very nice and helped him out a great deal. And unfortunately, as my father got older, he had dementia, which is a terrible disease. And in 2008, December 1st, my father passed away. The real legacy of Oriel Matza, for me, is not so much in what he said, but in teaching his son how to be a man by his actions. And I would say the same thing for my mother, in that she taught me right from wrong. She had a moral compass that I still use today. And if ever I'm in doubt, I just ask myself, what would she do? And that is generally the right answer. So that's it. Today is March 27th, 2014.